Hi guys, it's Kristen. I'm founder of Kristen Today, where I help you live your light so you can give your gifts to the world. This week, I'm talking to you about Venus retrograde, and she's in Scorpio, so she's already pretty feisty, and when she goes retrograde, it can get a little bit ugly. So just wanted to let you know what's going on before you're feeling a little bit cray-cray inside. And then not only that, but give you the tools to help you work through the energies and help them move out into your life in a way that can be productive and renewing. Because in Scorpio, it's all about transformation and rapid and wild, sometimes untamed growth. So here we are. So in Scorpio, Venus is going to be going backwards. And this is happening on, according to my calendar, today is October 5th, which is Friday, at 3:05 p.m. Eastern Time. When she's going backwards in Scorpio, it's kind of like she's walking backwards in the dark. And now if you imagine yourself walking backwards in the dark, it sounds like it's a pretty dangerous situation. You might feel uneasy. You might feel like there's creepy crawlers when there actually isn't creepy crawlers. And it's not just because it's Halloween time, it's Venus going retrograde in Scorpio. Now, she's particularly sensitive because in Scorpio, she's ruled by the signs of Mars and Pluto. Those are traditional and modern rulers. And the Mars right now is in Aquarius, which can make you feel a little bit scattered and all over the place, even though it's great for connecting and tapping into your resources to help you have your supportive community network. And then Pluto is, just as we talked about last week, has this really intense, let's do the changes now type of energy. So she's feeling these two with kind of unstable, uncertain forces as she's moving backwards, ultimately talking to some other planets happening in the sky, Lilith and Saturn along with them, by dispositorship and by conjunction. This is all astrology talk, so just forget that if you're not into the astrology half. Basically, she can feel like people aren't playing by the rules. Maybe she's not willing to play by the rules, and then she's having to step backwards into unknown territories to really go forward in what she ultimately wants to do, what she has the desires to have, what she wants to feel like she's overcome. So this feeling of Venus in retrograde can make you feel uncertain. And so when you feel uncertain about where you're standing, you're trying to reorient yourself. So be careful of just about trying to change directions without fully thinking through it, because fears are also coming up. You're feeling, maybe you can feel haunted by your past, by even like becoming your parents, becoming people that you grew up with. As you're going, this is very psychological, analytical type of feeling. So you can really be in your head a lot. So when you are trying to reorient yourself or trying to not feel like you're in the dark, even though you are in the dark in some ways here, you're going to have to navigate through some mind games here. Also, it's important to note that Mars and Lilith are together at the moment that Venus goes retrograde in this chart. And Lilith is a woman who plays by her own rules. She kind of took revenge out from what was asked of her and played by her own rules without much regard about how that would affect other people. She just did what she thought was best. So while there's an advantageous side to that kind of behavior, coupled with Mars, it can seem a little bit aggressive, and it can seem like it is a temptation, it is an urge to do things just because you want to do that, but it really would have some lasting, permanent effects if you do that. So be careful about making the rash decisions and really having these mind games take you over. People might go crazy in this time period, and it's our job to try to talk to them with love and to talk to them with compassion to help them see the reality and see the truth. And there's that, just because our truth and our light is different than theirs doesn't mean that we have to impose our truth on them, but rather it's to help them reveal the actual contextual reality by asking insightful questions by just holding space and being there. So some coping strategies when you're in this kind of environment, you might be questioning the motives around you, like this is the typical witch hunt type of feel here. You also, like, you may not be sure the people around you are the right people, or even that they have the right abilities. So you can feel a little bit, you're just questioning. You're not really trustful right now with this kind of energy, and you can feel unstable. So you're with this instability. A lot of times, self-worth is at the cost of that. So just be careful. Those things are coming up. If you feel any of these things, if you're feeling insecure or vindictive, manipulative, secretive, anxious, any of these things, know that you're dealing with Venus retrograde in Scorpio and you're not a victim. You can move through it. So the first thing is to move with Venus through Scorpio. You really are going to have to dig down deep and go into the places that hurt, go into the places that have the most powerful essence. And the word abyss came up for me when I was preparing for this talk. And abyss usually can talk about these underworlds that can lead to a hell, but abyss also has this meaning. The Jews had this meaning of abyss being basically the unfinished creation that the Creator had when He was still making things. So I'm thinking about your abyss here as these underworlds of unfinished creations. And so you're really going to have to go dig down deep to go into these different abysses that you have and find the fruits of your own unfinished creations to bring them into life, because that's ultimately what Venus in Scorpio wants to do. She wants to have the most beautiful riches of the world. She wants the biggest diamond. So whatever your figurative or literal diamond is, she wants the biggest one. And this is a good way to find out what those are. So when you dig down deep and you engage with all those sensitive parts, it's really going to come down in essence of following your heart. So if your heart's racing, you're feeling like you're in fear, you're questioning, you're doubting everything around you, take some moments to breathe and get in touch with your heart. Also, it's going to be about how you move through these energies. So if the first thing you're going to do is you're going to want to get in touch, slow down, and then you're going to want to disperse the energy out to where Venus has influence, which is Mercury and Sun in Libra and Uranus in Taurus. Uranus is retrograde. And this is to really say, like Uranus, this is a technique called Intisha too for the astrology people out here, but when you're in the depths of something, when you're really in the thick of it, it's also helpful to get a sky-high view of what's actually happening. So try to get yourself out and get a different perspective. Put yourself back into a context of reality, just like you were supporting other people. Support yourself in that kind of way. And then use this calm place to change small things. Mercury is about small little things. It's about little choices. So change small things and see how they work. And if you feel the light in it really strongly, use the sensitivity of Venus retrograde in Scorpio to really shine the light and follow the light through the important things. So some last minute practices to work through these energies when they come up. So now you know how they come up. Some energetic processes would be what's called peace process. I learned this through someone called Christian Michelson, but I've done it on my own through other teachers too. And basically that is to get in touch with the places that hurt and breathe into them, acknowledge their validity, and then release them. So that's simple. Another technique, and I'm probably oversimplifying, but what I've encountered in the network spinal analysis work is to breathe into the places of health. So breathe into the place that you feel most good about in your body and allow those to radiate and reorganize your body to bring balance and strength in that way too. So that's another great way to just get back to zero and get back to your heart. Second principle I want you to really practice in this 40-day period, which is 6 weeks. It's going to be ending November 16th at 5:50 in the morning. So the second thing I want you to practice is to learn how to trust yourself. And that's, it's like, oh yeah, of course I trust myself. Or yeah, oh, that's something I really struggle with. But there's some ways you can do that. One is to really offer yourself some regular boosts to your ego and to what lifts you up. So when you are doing things that are in integrity with you and that you're like, oh yes, I do love my chocolate. And I'm not saying eat chocolate, but that's kind of my go-to here. Oh yes, I do love chocolate. And then the deeper levels, I love chocolate. When you're doing things that are really in you, you're reinforcing that you can trust yourself to take care of your own needs. Second thing is to be careful of taking other people's counsel more valuable than your own. So when you trust yourself, it might be better to spend time to think about your own thoughts, to think about how if you were a friend, again, putting yourself outside of yourself, to think what would you, what advice would you give them? What kind of questions or ideas would you be considering? And then from there, when you already are prepared with your own ideas, what you're considering, you can offer that as a conversation instead of just taking advice from somebody. So trusting yourself is recognizing that you have your own valid opinion, and by working through this Libra energy, which Mercury and Sun are in, you can go to another person and say, I'm thinking about this, what's your perspective on it? And then you can really find your truth by the insights and comparisons that they have. I mean, I don't know about you, but I was known for quite a long time about what I did want to eat by what I was. So I would tell my husband, oh, I don't care what I want to eat. I'm just so hungry I want to eat. And then he would say, oh, do you want this? And I go, oh no, I want this other thing. So by having the comparison of what my option could have been, I actually now I'm closer to my own truth because I have that person to balance and weigh ideas off of. The third thing is to trust yourself, is to really allow yourself to go into the analysis. Scorpio is all about analysis. That is the energy. And when you go through the analysis of things to examine what your subconscious motives are, some of these patterns that you've inherited from your mother, your father, your family, this helps you move into your wisdom place, which is the full circle of the water energy. So water starts with Cancer, goes up to Scorpio where it is with Venus right now, and Jupiter as well. And then you can move the water energy over to Pisces, which is more about a believing, a sense of wisdom, a sense of totality and unity. So from the analysis and understanding of the parts of you that aren't really you, you can start to break through them to open yourself up to an even broader self-awareness and self-understanding. So if you practice all of these, I'm sure you're going to be able to weather through Venus retrograde well. But if you just have a couple things to do, I want you to put in your calendar a daily check-in, which is what serves me and my vision right now. When you're focused on your vision, it's often very much easier to get through your blocks and your challenges. And the second thing is to put in your weekly or a daily calendar the question, what's motivating me right now? Is it personal? Is it my fears? Or is it even judgments of others? Because ultimately Venus wants to put her light into the sun and into Uranus and into Mercury, because those are the signs that she rules, and those are the planets that live in the signs that she rules right now. She's wanting those to help you move into your light and really come from a place of power, to come from your personal diamonds and understanding. So I hope that you have found this helpful. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was at the comments below, and I look forward to chatting with you more. I believe that when you live your light, you can really make the impact your soul desires. So you can get through this. You're going to be fine. You're going to be stronger. You're going to be even more powerful and beautiful than you already were at the end of this. Take care and see you next week.